I found out that my wife has been cheating on me with my boss, and they don't even feel the need to hide it from me anymore. My name is Richard. I'm 26 years old, and I work as a delivery driver for a company that sells nuts and snacks. I spend most of my time out of town, delivering to various distributors. When I'm not on the road, I help out at the warehouse. Truth is, I was actually trained as a primary school teacher, but when I couldn't get appointed, I was forced to look for other work. After 2 long years of searching, I barely managed to land this job. The salary isn't much, it's just enough to scrape by, but I take on extra shifts whenever I can, so I can support my family better. My wife, Emma, is 23 and unemployed. We were actually high school friends. She was smart and could have easily gone to college if she'd kept up with her studies. But she was also extremely beautiful, and that beauty drew her into the popular crowd, distracting her from academics. We weren't in the same class, but everyone knew her. Emma stood out with her pure, striking beauty. Naturally, she became the target of many guys who chased girls around. At first, she didn't give anyone the time of day and stayed focused on her classes. But I guess the constant attention eventually wore her down. She started responding to the guys who came onto her, and from what I could tell, she actually began to enjoy the attention. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy being the girl everyone wants? The center of attention, the one everyone stares at. I came from a poor family and was focused on my studies, trying to secure a better future for myself. But even so, we all began to hear the rumors about Emma. Guys would brag at school about hooking up with her in empty houses, telling their stories with pride. Some even claimed they had videos, though I never watched any. Eventually, things escalated to the point where encounters were happening in school bathrooms. The last straw was during class. Our principal, passing through the hallway, heard moaning sounds coming from one of the restrooms. He went in and caught Emma completely naked with 2 senior boys. The school called a disciplinary board that very day and expelled all 3 of them. Emma transferred to another school, but her reputation in those videos had already spread to other high schools. Her behavior continued there, and eventually, when I moved on to university, I lost all contact with her. During my university years, I had forgotten about her well, not completely. She was always tucked away in a corner of my mind. After all, who can truly forget their high school days? I had a few relationships in college, but none of them went very far. Once I saw what the environment was like there and how the girls acted, I pulled back. I come from a conservative family and was raised with traditional values. So even though I had some flings before, I always wanted to marry someone who aligned with our way of life, someone without a wild or messy past. After graduating, I moved back home and took the public service exam. I actually got a pretty good score, but there were no placements. While I waited, the months passed by in a blur. I have a younger sister. She's in high school and planning to go to university too, which means more expenses. Meanwhile, I had graduated, was getting older, and just lounging around at home. My parents didn't say anything at first, but after about 6 months, the subtle comments started. And honestly, they were right. My dad's retired, yet he still works as a private driver for a wealthy real estate guy to make ends meet. My mom is a homemaker. I'm the only one at home who could realistically pitch in. I had asked around with friends and acquaintances, but no one had anything solid to offer. Eventually, the pressure became too much, and I started seriously looking for work. Everywhere I applied turned me down once they realized I was still waiting for a teaching appointment. I ended up doing all sorts of part-time jobs, waiting tables, carrying loads, construction work. I actually missed the old days when I could relax at home, but I didn't have the luxury anymore. I had to earn money until I got appointed. Then one day, while working a shift at a cafe, I saw Emma again. She came in with a few girlfriends. The others had kids with them, but she didn't. At first I wasn't sure if it was her. She looked different. That sweet, petite girl from high school was gone. She had matured. She was all woman now. but she still had those same full curves, rounded chest, and pronounced hips. I won't lie, seeing her again stirred something in me. I wondered, would she recognize me? Was she still the same girl who bounced from guy to guy back then? Or had she settled down like the women she was with? Lost in those thoughts, I walked over to take their order. As soon as she saw me, she took off her sunglasses, revealing her piercing green eyes. "Oh my God, Richard, is that you?" she said. My heart started racing. She recognized me instantly. I was so shocked I stuttered, "Yeah, it's me, Emma. Of course, my Emma." She smiled. "How are you? Are you working here now?" "Yeah, I come in from time to time." "You know how hard it is to get assigned as a teacher in this country," I replied. "Wow, so you actually became a teacher?" she asked, genuinely surprised. "Yeah, primary school teacher. But now I'm just doing whatever work I can get," I said with a forced smile. She smiled back, and I noticed the other women at the table watching us with curiosity. I felt a bit awkward and didn't want to push too much, so I didn't ask her many questions right then. But deep down, I really wanted to know. What had she been up to? Where had life taken her since high school? The fact that she recognized me and acted so warmly really caught me off guard. Back in school, she wouldn't even glance at guys like me. She stuck with the popular crowd. We were the poor, nerdy bunch, completely invisible to her. Before it got too weird, I took the rest of their orders and went back inside. As I prepared their drinks, I kept serving other customers, but my eyes kept drifting back to Emma. Strangely enough, she was watching me too. I could feel it. When I brought their order to the table, she looked at me again long and deep, with those sharp green eyes of hers. I could only manage a nervous smile in return. After a couple of hours, they got up to leave. I wanted to pay the bill as a kind gesture, but honestly, my financial situation didn't allow for that. As she walked out, Emma turned back, smiled at me, and then went on her way. That moment hit me like a second shock. She had been giving me these intense, almost desperate looks all day, and now she was leaving as if she wanted to say something, but didn't. After she left, my boss and the other guys working at the cafe practically interrogated me. "Dude, that girl couldn't stop staring at you like she was ready to jump you. Where do you know her from? If I were you, I wouldn't have let her out of my sight all day." They kept going on, and although their comments were crude, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. It stroked my ego. Even after all these years, Emma was still stunning. Petite, but not too short, and her body was just right. A slim waist, firm, full breasts, and a perfectly shaped backside that seemed to defy time. Her face had sharp, defined features, and those piercing green eyes. She looked like an angel. I spent the rest of the day thinking about her, smiling like an idiot all the way home. But as soon as I got home, reality hit. My parents were overwhelmed by financial problems. My dad's coworker had mentioned that a nut distribution company was looking for a new driver. My dad started talking with my mom about maybe leaving his own job and sending me instead. I didn't want to go, not yet. Emma might come back to the cafe, and I was hoping for another chance to talk to her. My dad was well liked at his job, so he was pushing for me to take the new one instead. I asked him for one more week. I'd keep working at the cafe, and if Emma didn't show up again during that time, I'd go to the interview for the delivery job. Days passed, and on the 5th day, just as I was starting to lose hope, Emma walked into the cafe right before closing time. I can't even describe the jolt of energy I felt when I saw her. She was alone this time, which meant we could actually talk. The other employees immediately looked at me. I didn't let anyone else take her order. This one was mine. I walked over, smiling. "Welcome back. How are you? What can I get for you?" She looked a bit tired, serious even. But as soon as she saw me, her expression softened into a smile. "Hi, Richard. I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?" This time I was calmer. I had been rehearsing this moment in my head for days. I smiled back and said, "I'm good. It's really nice to see you again." Her warm smile spread across her face. "I'll just have a plain Turkish coffee," she said. "Coming right up," I replied, and hurried to the kitchen. While I was watching her, she started talking on the phone. It sounded like a heated conversation. As I brought over her coffee, I heard her say through clenched teeth, "Hang up, you son of a bitch." When she saw me approaching, she quickly pulled herself together. "Rough call?" I asked. "Oh, don't even ask. My ex-husband, psycho, still won't leave me alone. He keeps calling drunk." "That's awful. Is there anything I can do?" I asked. She hesitated for a second. Maybe she wasn't expecting that. "Why don't you sit for a bit? Let's talk," she said. I hadn't seen that coming, but I definitely wanted it. I hesitated for a moment. Talking with customers like that was technically against the rules, but it was nearly closing time, and when I glanced around, I noticed everyone was watching us anyway, so I sat down. She noticed my hesitation. "Is this a problem for you?" No, not at all," I said, trying to hide my excitement. I was screaming with joy on the inside. "So how have you been? What have you been doing since high school?" I asked. This time, she took a deep breath. Everyone at school already knew how she got expelled, and now she began telling the story herself. Turns out, she hadn't changed much after transferring schools. She kept hanging out with the same wild crowd. I knew exactly what that meant. Partying, hookups, and bouncing from one guy to another. She didn't go to college. Her grades were so bad she couldn't even pass the university entrance exam. So she started working, mostly in big chain markets, wherever she could find something. At some point, she got married to a guy she met in those same party circles. They were married for a year, but the guy turned out to be an alcoholic. Within months, he started getting physically abusive. He constantly brought up her past and picked fights over it. Eventually, she couldn't take it anymore and filed for divorce. Because of the abuse, she was granted a decent amount of alimony, and that's why she wasn't working anymore. Just then, one of my coworkers came over and leaned in to whisper, "Hey bro, we're closing up, but looks like you've scored tonight, huh?" I turned bright red. Did she hear that? I looked over at Emma. She was smiling. She probably heard it. Even if she didn't, she could easily guess what they were thinking from the way the guys were practically drooling over her. And after everything she's been through, I guess she was used to it. "We're closing now. Want to take a walk?" I asked. She agreed. At that point, I felt like I had already reached my goal. I didn't need the cafe job anymore. I walked over to my boss and told him I was quitting. He just stared at me like an idiot. Whatever. Emma and I walked out together, chatting as we went. We came to a park. "Want to sit for a bit?" she asked. "Sure," I replied. And so, we sat and talked for hours. She told the rest of her story, and I shared mine. We completely lost track of time. My phone rang. It was my family. "Son, are you coming home?" "Where are you?" That's when I realized it was 1 a.m. "I've got something to take care of. I'll be home soon," I said. Emma picked up on what was happening. "We should probably wrap it up. I don't want to cause any trouble for you," she said. "No, it's fine. Honestly, talking to you has been really good for me," I replied. "Same here," she said with a warm smile. We ended up talking for another 2 hours. Then I walked her home and made my way back to my place. I could barely sleep that night. Something I had wanted for so long had finally happened. I had sat and talked with Emma for hours. It felt like she was into me too. I wasn't sure. But I had her number now. I could call her whenever I wanted. I told her I was starting a new job, and that she probably wouldn't see me around the cafe anymore. And that's how things began between Emma and me. I started working as a delivery driver for the nut company, while she lived off her ex-husband's alimony. She wasn't working. I knew that to keep a woman like Emma around, I had to earn serious money, so I started looking for side jobs. What else could I do? Our relationship started to grow. I didn't know whether to call it dating or flirting. but we began video calling each other regularly. We'd talk at the end of the day, sharing stories about what we'd done, just chatting for hours. Whenever I wasn't out of town, we'd meet up, go to live music events, catch new movies. We were pretty much like a couple. One day, riding on that wave of connection, I proposed to her. She accepted almost like she'd been waiting for it. Was it the right move? I didn't know. Was she really the kind of person who would fit into my family? Would her past haunt me later? I didn't care about any of that in the moment. I proposed anyway. Maybe she had already had her fill of that wild lifestyle and just wanted to build something warm, something real, a loving home. But still, every time I thought about her past, the videos, the guys she'd been with, it gnawed at me inside. And yet, I told myself, for a woman as stunning as Emma, I could live with it. Given our financial situation, we didn't have a lavish wedding. We barely managed to afford a modest event at a local hall. On top of that, we were buried under a mountain of debt. Since Emma was getting married, her alimony would be cut off, so I was determined to do whatever it took to maintain the lifestyle she was used to. Our wedding was attended by relatives, co-workers, my boss, and even some high school classmates. We hadn't actually invited anyone from high school, but they came anyway. Emma didn't want her past to become a point of discomfort for me. At the wedding, my boss was openly ogling Emma like he wanted to devour her. During the gift ceremony, he kept showering her with compliments. If he had gone even a step further, I might have lost it and killed him right then and there. Some of the high school guys were already filming parts of the wedding and had posted them online before the night even ended. That was how our married life began. At first, everything seemed great, much better than I had feared. I was genuinely happy. My marriage, my job, my family life. Everything was going smoothly. My boss started treating me unusually well, so well, in fact, that he even gave me a raise. I hadn't expected that. A few times, we were invited to company iftar dinners during Ramadan. Families were welcome, so I went with Emma. Truthfully, I didn't want to go. But my boss, an absolute beast of a man, basically pressured us into attending. At those dinners, his interest in Emma was more than obvious. He didn't even try to hide it. It made me deeply uncomfortable. Each time I insisted we leave early, but Emma ... She seemed to enjoy the attention. Maybe she missed the thrill of her old days. My boss was the most powerful person in that circle. No one dared to confront him, and he was making his intentions painfully clear. That power, I believe, started to influence my wife. Looking back, I honestly think I got that raise because of his interest in her. But it wasn't just a raise. I began working more and more, especially long-distance trips out of town. Our sex life at home was great, passionate, frequent, and mutually satisfying. That's why I thought everything was fine. There were no red flags. Until one day ... I came back from a business trip and stopped by the store before going home to drop off some documents. The kid at the register casually said, "Hey bro, your wife was here earlier today." That caught me off guard. Emma never came to the store, especially not when I wasn't around. She just didn't. Something about that made my stomach turn. When I got home, I acted like everything was normal. Emma greeted me warmly, throwing her arms around my neck. She said she missed me, cooked a lovely dinner, and even brought out a plate of snacks afterward. "I picked up some of your favorites at the store today," she said. "Babe, you never go to the store," I replied. "I just wanted to make you happy, honey," she said. It sounded reasonable. I didn't question it further. But 2 days later, I was scheduled for another out-of-town trip. Before I left, I quietly told the kid at the store, "If my wife comes in again, let me know right away." It was supposed to be a 3-day trip. But barely 2 hours after I hit the road, I got a text from the kid at the store. "Bro, your wife's here." I called Emma, pretending everything was normal, just a quick check-in. She said she was home, cleaning up the house. At that moment, it felt like I had been shot in the head. She was blatantly lying to me. I immediately called the kid back. "Where exactly is she right now? What's she doing?" he replied. "She said hi to us, then went straight into the boss's office. We brought in some tea and coffee. We can hear them laughing in there." I nearly turned the car around on the spot. I was trying to find a reason not to go back and kill them both. Emma was back to her old ways. My boss had clearly found his thrill, and they were enjoying themselves at my expense. "Okay, let me know when she leaves," I told the kid. I kept driving, trying to plan my next move. I needed to be sure. I called a childhood friend from the neighborhood. I didn't go into detail, just asked him to follow them discreetly. About 2 hours later, he messaged me. They had left the store and gotten into my boss's car. He followed them at a distance. First, they went to a nice restaurant. My friend took photos. They were arm in arm as they walked in. My boss had his hand wrapped around Emma's slim waist. I needed proof, and this was it. Inside, they were laughing, holding hands, clearly enjoying themselves like a couple. After the meal, they went to a lingerie store. The implication was obvious. That bastard was dressing my wife exactly how he wanted to see her. She had never been that flexible or open with me. She had her boundaries. But for him, I was sure she'd dropped every line she ever drew. Like a slave, doing whatever he wanted. I couldn't help but wonder, what did he have that I didn't? He was older than me, mid-40s, maybe, but in decent shape. He worked out, took care of himself. Probably part of his womanizing lifestyle, but that couldn't be the only reason. I wasn't fat or anything. I kept myself in shape too, though I was on the leaner side. Then it hit me: money. Of course, it was the money. While I was out here breaking my back, running around like a dog trying to make ends meet and make her happy, she had already found her happiness and her luxury with him. The last update I got from my friend shattered me completely. They just went into your house. My house. They were going to have sex in my bed with the lingerie he had just bought her. The thought alone made me consider driving off the side of the mountain road I was on. I seriously thought about ending it all. But what would be the point? They'd just keep living, keep laughing. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned the car around. I was going to catch them red-handed. I called my friend again. "Wait near the house. If they leave, call me. I'm on my way." I don't even remember how I survived the drive back, the turns, the speed. I should have crashed, but somehow I made it. When I got close to the house, I could hear sounds from inside. "Are you going to make my husband a manager?" That was Emma's voice, muffled, mouth full. Her words were slurred. Then my boss replied, "Don't worry, sweetheart. As long as you keep doing this, your husband's going places. Good girl." Then he laughed, that smug, disgusting laugh. I stepped away from the door, trembling. I was going to kill him. What other option did I have? Outside, I slapped myself in the face, trying to stay focused, trying not to black out from the rage. I couldn't take it anymore. I stormed into the house and ran straight to the bedroom. There they were. My wife and my boss, having sex in a way she had never even allowed with me. As soon as they saw me, they both turned their heads. Emma's piercing green eyes were unfocused. She looked terrified. My boss looked surprised but didn't panic. Before they could say anything, I lunged at him and started throwing punches. I got in a few good hits at first, but he was stronger than me. He quickly regained control, overpowered me, and threw me hard against the wall. "Stop!" he shouted. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and came back at him. But he caught my wrist mid-swing, twisted my arm behind my back, and put me in a chokehold, pressing the knife to my throat. I was completely trapped. In front of me stood Emma, completely naked, her eyes full of tears. Behind me was my naked boss, holding a blade to my neck. And there I was, helpless. If he could control me this easily, what the hell had he been doing to my delicate Emma? Then he spoke. "Listen, kid, calm the hell down. What's done is done. You saw everything, now relax and listen carefully." He tightened his grip on my throat as he continued. I saw Emma at your wedding. I was hooked. About a week after that, I reached out to her. At first, she resisted. She even threatened to tell you. But I didn't care. 10 days later, she gave in on one condition, that I promote you and give you a raise. And I agreed. So yeah. About 20 days after your wedding, your wife became my mistress. It's been like that for a year now. She's happy. I'm doing things to her you could never dream of, and she wants more. You're getting promotions. You're making more money. I'm enjoying myself. Everyone wins. With every word, he squeezed harder. I was struggling to breathe. I didn't want Emma to see me like this, completely humiliated, powerless. But there was nothing I could do. I looked at her. She was crying, ashamed, but still looking right at me. Then my boss spoke again. "Stop crying, you slut. I'm not done making you cry." Instantly, Emma stopped. Her face changed. She smiled. She obeyed him without hesitation. My boss laughed. "See that? That's your wife. She's my slave now. She does whatever I tell her, and this arrangement, it's going to continue. Next time I come over, you keep your mouth shut. I'll bring more money. She'd be ready dressed how I like, going wherever I want. Or I'll just come here. Your choice. Watch or get lost. But if you try to interfere, I'll destroy you." I said nothing. The silence only made him tighten his grip more. I looked at Emma again. She was like a dog waiting for his next command. I was suffocating, nearly blacking out. I nodded. He let go. I coughed violently as he shoved me toward the bed. "Go ahead, kiss your wife goodbye. Then get the hell out." I'm not finished with her yet. I couldn't believe it. After everything, he was kicking me out of my own house. "Didn't you hear me? Get out," he barked, slapping me across the face. That snapped me out of it. Just like Emma, I obeyed. I walked out of my house and broke down crying. I wandered the streets for hours, completely shattered. There was nothing I could do. And that bastard, he was still inside, in my bed with my wife. I didn't go home for 2 days. I didn't go to work either. On the 3rd day, I finally returned. Emma greeted me like nothing had happened. I was a ghost, just hollow inside. She must have sensed it because she gently took my hand and said, "Come on, let's talk." Then she started repeating the things my boss had said. "I didn't want to. I only did it for you, ... I wanted to help you succeed, ... double quotes. The same pathetic excuses. I didn't want to lose her, but deep down, I already had. Now whenever my boss texts, it's like I don't even exist. She gets dressed, does her makeup, just like a dog waiting for a command. Once we were visiting my parents. He called. She left immediately. No questions asked. It's still going on. It's been over a year since I first caught them. I guess I've gotten used to it. Or maybe not. I still feel like a walking corpse. Some days, I think about killing them or myself. But I've lost that courage, I think. I've wanted to tell someone for so long, but I was too afraid, too ashamed. Now I realize this helped. It really did. I feel just a little lighter. So thank you. I hope no one ever goes through what I went through. Because this is something between life and death.